Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Matthias. Today I'm going to talk about my research methodology that I developed for the subject Applied Project at MCI. My research topic is the nutrition trends and food production in Austria. So it deals with the current situation and also takes a little outlook in the future on how the nutrition has changed, will change, and currently changes in Austria. Also, in regard of the globalized agriculture and the globalized food trade, which is all broken down to the Austrian markets. The research question I developed for the case study is how did the Austrians' diet change precipitated by the demand of high quality and or also imported products, and what impact does this change have on the local businesses in agriculture and gastronomy? The research paradigm that I use at my methodology is descriptive, as the structure of the questionnaires and interviews is standardized. The target group of the survey is randomly chosen, but I will talk about this in one of the next slides, that only for one part of the participants of the survey I can really randomly choose the participants. At the other part, it's not so easy. The research approach is deductive, as the arguments used in the research paper are really reflecting only the current developments of the industry, and the research tries to demonstrate the outcome that somehow explain the certain reasons of the different changes in the food industry in a clear way. The research strategies, I have to say strategies in this case that I use are on the one hand quantitative as well as qualitative. As I mentioned before, I cannot really choose randomly whom I'm going to ask. Only at the quantitative research, which I will use for the consumers, like for the people that are daily buying food at their close supermarket or at the farmer's market or wherever they are going to, we are all going to find this out with the survey. So for these consumers, I'm going to use the quantitative approach, but for the companies, I have to use a qualitative approach, as I really have to sort out which companies I'm going to talk to. I cannot just randomly choose companies of all fields. They have to be out of the food industry or the agriculture, and they have to fulfill a certain requirements in the area of size and regionality. So I really have to make sure that the company I'm talking to is an Austrian company. Otherwise, it would not fit into my research area. The data collection is going to happen in 3 ways. I'm going to carry out interviews, really personal interviews at the companies or with the consumers. I will go to the supermarkets and basically talk at the entrance at the people's about the people's. I'm going to ask the people about their habits on buying food. I will do some questionnaires that I will carry out over the internet, and also phone calls. I will ask the same questions as I ask which I asked in the interviews, also via the phone, to reach especially the older generation of our country, and also to reach places that are a little far away, so that I don't have to travel a lot to collect my data. My sampling strategy is quite clear. It is a purposive sample and a representative selection. So the purposive sample is especially this, what I'm going to do with the consumers. I'm going to randomly choose a certain amount of consumers, which I will ask exactly the standardized questions of the questionnaire. And the representative selection is going to be carried out with the companies, so that I find that the participants are really only companies of the food industry or agricultural companies, like farms, conventional farms as well as biological farms, to really get a broad view on at the outcome. The size of people that I'm going to talk to are around 200 customers or consumers of the retail, of the food retail, 10 companies in the food industry, like bakeries, convenience food productions, and also I want to talk to 10 farms, at least 10 farms of all the different fields, the ones who raise cattle, the ones who grow vegetables, the ones who grow animal food. I really want to reach a broad mass of farmers here. And the analysis is going to be the interpretation of the interviews, the surveys, and the phone calls. So as my questions are going to be really standardized, it's going to be quite easy to develop a clear result for the consumers that I'm asking, and also for the outcome of the questions I ask at the companies. Here I provide you with an example questionnaire that I will ask to the consumers. For example, I will ask them how often they visit the grocery stores. They have then some answer options. I will also ask them just some yes/no questions. For example, if they pay attention to the origin of the products they buy, or if they have a microwave or not, which gives me a lot of insight on if they use a lot of convenience food that is frozen or if they really cook fresh. The quality criteria for my research is pretty clear. It has to be in different regions of Austria, and I have to reach different income classes. So I have to find out about the eating habits or the buying habits of food, and the nutrition habits of really poor people and also of the rich people, and how much it differs. I think that the difference is not going to be too big, but the outcome is going to show this. And the quality criteria for the companies is, on the one hand, the number of the employees. There has to be a certain categorization of the size of a company, from which amount of employees on it's a big company or a small company. And also I need to put the annual revenue in regard at this questionnaire. The data analysis enables me that the questionnaires and interviews are reaching different groups of the population on the one hand, and on the other hand, I can also find out the differences between the retail the food production companies, the retail companies in the food area, and also about the habits of farmers and consumers. And the limitations that my research strategy gives or provides me, unfortunately, are that the quantitative research will not reach such a huge amount of people. I mean, 200 people is not a lot, but I cannot really carry out a bigger survey, as the results are as it's going to be really hard to figure out a proper result when I ask more than 200 people. And I will also have to find really Austrian companies that are representing the global food market. This can be very hard because the situation in Austria is still very different to the globalized agriculture and the globalized food business. For the future, I also want to collect data from national and international companies, so I could widen my research to the European continent or even worldwide. And I really want to interview also more companies with longer and more detailed surveys, so that I can carry out a more detailed research, and that I'm not like limited in the market that I'm talking about, which is in this case Austria. I thank you very much for the attention.